For attending. This is the public informational meeting for mill and place projects for 2021. I'd like to introduce my staff that is here today. I got James Purton, Tim Cassidy, Josh Moritz, myself, Tom Turchi. We also have two technicians that work in our department, Lance Oldham and Sean Miller. From our street division, there's Chris Hawley, Tim Rasmussen, and the other assistant street supervisor is vacant right now. The first project we have tonight is Adams Avenue, Upham Street to McMillan Street. This project will be basically just a mill in place street where we do ditching and under drain installation. It will not, that's the extent of the work on Adams Avenue. West Blodgett Street from Northwood Avenue to St. Joseph's Avenue. This project is going to be a little more involved. We are actually going to replace all the sanitary sewer laterals on this project up to the right-of-way that are not currently PVC. The water utility is also planning to replace water main on this project and water service laterals on this project. So this is going to be a pretty extensive project. In fact, we are bidding this one out and not doing it with street department crews. The next project I have is West Briarwood Street. This project is just a mill in place with ditching and under drain. And then South Cedar Avenue from 6th Street to 8th Street. We are going to replace sanitary sewer laterals on this project and some sanitary sewer main from 7th Street to 8th Street. And the water utility is going to replace water services on this project within the limits of the 6th to 8th. On this next project, we have West Park Street from Adams Avenue to Clark Avenue, and then Clark Avenue from Arlington Street down to the cul-de-sac to the south. On this project, the water utility will be replacing water main and water services, and the city will come back and follow through with ditching, under drain, and a new pavement for the entire project. This project is West 3rd Street from Mulberry Avenue to Magnolia Drive, then Magnolia Drive from 3rd Street to Adler Road. And this is just a ditching project with mill in place and under drain installation. We have Laurel Court, and this will be also just a milling project with under drain installation and ditching. So the typical progression of events that take place in our projects is we begin with the ditching, where we actually get rid of some of the excess material, put new drain culverts in, drain tile under the bottom of the ditches to help keep the ditches dry. And with that drain tile, we do allow sump pumps to be connected to the drain tile system. If you have it buried out to the ditch right now and it drains out there, we will connect that to the under drain system. But if it is connected to downspouts or yard drains, we do not connect them to the under drain system because that will plug the under drain system and render it unusable for people who do have sump pumps tied to them. Marshfield service rules for curb stops is the curb stop belongs to the property owner. If the curb stop is higher than the ditch, it is up to the homeowner to make those adjustments to the height if they so choose. If the street division damages a curb stop while they're doing their work in the ditching, they will make any repairs necessary. On Ash Avenue, Blodgett Street, Cedar Avenue, curb stops will be installed where there are none, and where lead is being replaced and new curb stops will also be installed. The typical progression of events for our mill and place projects, other than the ones where water main and some sanitary sewer work are taking place, is that basically we will do the ditching and then pulverize the existing asphalt pavement. What you have here is a pulverizer that basically grinds up the existing asphalt into the base, and it makes a stronger base. And then we put 3 inches of new asphalt over the top of that. Following grading or the pulverizing, they basically grade and compact it, and you can drive on it even right around the pulverizer, so it's not too inconvenient at that point. Then at some point, they'll come back and adjust any of the manholes in the street to the new elevation of the street. Then they start the process of paving. At this time, when they actually do the paving for these projects, we like to have residents stay off the streets for about 24 hours to help the pavement cool. This will keep the pavements clean from mars and marks and ruts that may occur while the pavement is still hot. And then finally, there's shouldering, and then we typically use recycled asphalt for the shouldering material because it holds together much better. So the construction schedule is something that everyone likes to hear about when they come to these meetings. Right now, we don't have any scheduled dates for construction. Kim Rasmussen, our assistant street superintendent from the street department, will be actually scheduling these projects and setting up the pulverizer and setting up the paving and the ditching. So we'll have some more information when we have another public informational meeting when the plans are completed for these projects. So pulverizing is typically scheduled based on the equipment, and same with the paving, and those are both done by American Asphalt. The issue there is that if it rains, the paving or pulverizing can change immediately or be disrupted due to that. So what they try to do is they try to keep the residents notified of the work that's progressing by putting door hangers on the homes and the various projects to let people know when they're going to start work in the neighborhood, when they're going to do milling, and when they're going to do paving. So the sequence of events for mill and place projects, we have the adoption of the budget in November. We begin survey August and September, and we have our initial PIM here in February. Preliminary resolutions are going to the Common Council tonight. Then we do the design and start getting the project ready for construction. In April, you'll see mailing of the estimated special assessments, which includes a notice of public hearing, installment assessment notice, report of the city engineer, a Schedule D, including what we estimate the special assessments to be. And then we have another PIM with the design and special assessments to discuss, and with final plans, and construction should begin fairly soon after that, generally around April, May, when construction starts. Final assessments won't be calculated until next January, and it's based upon what is actually used in those locations at your property. Each property is specific to what's adjacent to it. And final assessments don't get mailed till next March. Some of the things that we know what these projects are, we're looking for access considerations. We'd like to know if you or a neighbor requires specific access requirements during these projects. We will try to do our best to work with you to maintain access when possible. If there's a disability or if a neighbor receives Meals on Wheels, if we can get that information, we can try to do what we can to make it as easy as possible. Again, we try to be as accommodating as possible, but with the type of work that takes place, sometimes access cannot be maintained at all times. Parking during construction will be allowed on the adjacent side streets, and we typically will prefer to have vehicles not park on the new asphalt, drive on the new asphalt right after it's been paved, 24 hours. So how are services affected during construction? On these projects, mail will be delivered as normal. Trash and recyclables should be picked up as normal. The street department will work with residents if there is any disruption, especially if we have excavation taking place and it makes it a little more difficult for the equipment to get through. We'll work with property owners on that. Water service will not be affected during construction, except on Blodgett, Ash, and Cedar. There will be short service disruptions as they put temporary water main in to provide service as they replace the main and service laterals on those projects. Please note, the Marshfield Utilities does have a program to help replace lead and galvanized water services. And you can contact John Richmond or Eric Boone at Marshfield Utilities at 715-387-1195. These, you don't have to make notes on this. I'll put these presentations on our city website under engineering, and you can just take the information right off of the website. Sanitary sewer service will not be affected during construction, but if you've had issues with your sanitary sewer in the past, now would be a good time to make any necessary repairs. And later on in this presentation, I will go through the pilot program we have for sanitary sewers. And all sanitary sewer laterals on Blodgett Street that are not PVC are going to be replaced as part of this project up to the right-of-way. Parking, again, for the Mill and Place project, it's not too bad. There'll be times when they're pulling and resetting driveway culverts where you have about 4 hours that are of inconvenience of not being able to get into your driveway. On the projects such as Blodgett and Cedar and Ash, with the water main construction, there will be a little bit more disturbance than that. We do let emergency services become aware of all the projects, what our status is of all these projects, and they take a look at what might be necessary for the various projects and how they may access them, so they take a look at them on a regular basis. So how can you prepare for the project? You can begin the financial planning for the special assessment, coordinate any landscaping, driveway placement, or other construction plans you may have. Now would be an opportune time to lengthen the driveway culvert if the culvert is not wide enough. Please note the maximum allowed by city policy is 40 feet. And ask questions of our staff, and we'll work with you to see what we can do to help make these projects as easy as possible. So funding, we talk about special assessments with these projects. The city ordinance reads that pulverizing and paving are assessable items. These are based upon a one-third cost share, or 1/3 of the cost of pulverizing and asphalt, and paving is assessed on the homeowners on one side, and 1/3 is assessed by the homeowners on the other side, and the third is funded by general tax dollars. Driveway aprons are also accessible on these. Driveways that are paved as follows: gravel aprons will be restored in asphalt. Asphalt aprons will be restored in asphalt. And in concrete or brick paver aprons do get restored in asphalt. And special note that end wall treatments are not replaced. That is responsibility of the property owner to replace them on their own if they would like to restore those. So when we take a look at how we grade each of these driveways, gravel driveways are graded at 4 with no credit. Asphalt that is cracked and in fairly decent shape, we have a 50% credit for driveway paving. Asphalt with no cracks, which is typically something that's 3 to 5 years old, gets a 80% credit. And new asphalt driveways can receive up to 100% credit. Ditching is not accessible. This includes the installation of the under drain. Some pumps can be connected again, but we cannot connect downspouts. We do that at no cost, as long as it's stubbed out to the ditch. The property owner is associated with the cost of the culvert, lengthening and replacement. In some instances, if the culvert is in decent shape or has been replaced at some point in the past, let's assume a property owner may have a plastic culvert already that's in good shape, and we just add under drain underneath the bottom of it, and we can reuse the culvert, then there's no cost to the homeowner for that culvert. And the culverts we typically use are called HDPE or dual wall black plastic. And if the homeowner requests a metal culvert, they can do so by a written request. And the reason why we give that option, the HDPE culvert pipes are very cost effective. We order those and put them in as part of our project, so we get them at a very good cost, and that cost is shared with property owners. But even with so, we do anticipate after these projects are done, there will be some type of crack that does appear across the top of those culverts. You can go with the galvanized metal culvert or aluminum culvert pipe. You will most likely see the same type of crack. It'll take longer for it to appear, but it will at some point crack too due to frost in our soil. So our sanitary sewer lateral replacement policy. Now is a great time to take a look at your sanitary sewer lateral. The city will televise your lateral at no cost to you as a homeowner. All we need is access to a sanitary cleanout. If you have had root problems in the past, they will need to be removed before televising can be effective. And addressing your sanitary sewer lateral now can save a road cut in the future, which in turn helps with the longevity of our new roadways. The city has implemented an initiative for lateral replacements, and I'll discuss that a little bit further in this. And to schedule televising, just contact our Marshfield wastewater treatment plant. The number is actually on the bottom of the invite. That's 715-486-2007. So on Blodgett Street, we will be replacing the sanitary sewer lateral from the main to the property line, kind of like what we have highlighted here in green. And if a property owner chooses to replace the remaining portion, hire their own contractor or own plumber to replace it from where we stop to the basement or to the house, the city will issue a check for $1,000 as an incentive to hiring your own plumber to fix the sanitary sewer lateral. So in the instance of Blodgett Street, where we're replacing sanitary sewer laterals and on Cedar Avenue, we can estimate a sanitary sewer lateral replacement of about $1,250. If the homeowner replaces their portion in red, which is the cost of hiring their own plumber, the city will actually forgive the special assessment portion of the sanitary sewer lateral at the $1,250 and pay the property owner an additional $1,000. So ultimately, if you replace your sanitary sewer lateral like on Blodgett Street, you could end up saving probably around $2,250. So this is a brochure that we will mail out with the next public informational meeting that talks about our sanitary sewer lateral program again. And I won't go through this in a great amount of detail. It is also available on our website. Marshfield Utilities right now has a program to assist homeowners replacing their water services to the house. What they want to try to do is remove all lead and galvanized services within the city, and they will pay up to $3,000 to help assist in replacing that water service to the house. You can contact John Richmond or Eric Boone with the water utility, and their number is 387-1195, and they'll work with you to try to do this. Right now, the program has a sunset clause date of June 1st of this year. So any work to try to receive payment on this or to receive this benefit has to be completed before June 1st of this year. So when we talk about laterals and lead and galvanized water services, we do have the special pilot program going on for sanitary sewer laterals where we can assist with $1,000. And with the water main and lead and galvanized sewer replacements, a homeowner can actually save quite a bit of money on replacing their water and sewer services as part of this work or these projects. And getting it done ahead of time saves a lot of cost and effort in the future, and also helps with the longevity of our street. So I want to talk about special assessments. What we're going to be sending out here in April will be estimated special assessments. It's a worst case scenario in most cases. And what we do is we wait till we actually open the bids for asphalt paving so that we have a better idea of what the actual cost is going to be. Final assessments don't actually get calculated or mailed out until 2022. And the payment options are as follows. You can pay the entire amount within 60 days from the date it was delivered. Again, this happens in 2022. If your special assessment is between $0 and $500, you can put it on your tax roll and you get 1 year to pay for it. If it's 501 to 5,000, you get 10 years, and 5,001 and greater gets 20 years. And the assessments that are placed on the tax roll at the time and frame noted above will be charged interest for the Common Council. And typically it's about 1.5% for that year's borrowing. And I believe this year's will be 3.9%. I just got an email this morning that it's going to the finance budget personnel, and that's going to be the recommended rate. So how is special assessments calculated? If we assume that the asphalt paving is $15 a linear foot, I will use this property as an example, and we'll assume that we're going on a corner lot that's 110 by 130 feet. So in this example, the frontage, which is 110 feet, is assessed at that $15 per linear foot rate. And the sidage, which is the adjacent side yard of that property, is assessed at 50% the front foot rate. You get and then if we have a 12-inch culvert, 30 feet long, or at $12 linear foot, you have approximately $2,985 for this one parcel. And most parcels don't have corner lots. We're not doing, in a lot of instances, corner lots in these parcels, but I'm just using this for an example. So in the driveway instance, what you have here as the blue area is the original area of the driveway apron. And let's assume it's 25 square yards in average condition. And if our estimated assessment rate is at $30 per square yard, 25 square yards is at $750 for the charge for that. But if with the average credit, we multiply that by 50%, so then that reduces it from $750 to $375. And assume they want to widen the driveway in this instance, where they want to add another 5 square yards of pavement, that gets charged at the full rate, and it adds approximately another $150 to the overall special assessment. So in this instance, they would have a final apron cost of $525. So taking in the cost that we showed on that previous street, along with the driveway assessments in this example, you have a total assessment of about $3,510. And the reason I use $15 a linear foot, because it's higher than what I anticipate the estimated special assessments to be for this year. And I know that a lot of people remember that number almost instantaneously, the $15. And it's a little easier to give you a number that's closer when we get these estimated special assessments on. Some of the things that we're looking for from you as a resident are information that doesn't get located by Digger's Hotline. So if you have a sump pump discharge where the service line is buried and we may not see it, we'd like to know where that is so that we can work with you to get that located. Any private underground utilities, buried irrigation systems, pet containment, or buried underground power that's owned by the property owner that's not located by Digger's Hotline, we'd like to know where that is. And any issues that you think we should review during our design process. So miscellaneous items and other things that you think we should address are great to bring up at these meetings, and you can give us a call if necessary. So how do you give us input and stay informed? You can reach me, and my email address is on the letter that was on part of the invite. It's tom@ci.marshfield.wi.us, or you can call City Hall and at 486-2034, or stop in. And our website will have a copy of this PowerPoint presentation on it later this week, so you'll be able to review it at any time at your convenience. So do you have any questions for us? Well, I do want to thank everyone that's here for attending. We've had double the attendance that we had in the last night's meeting, and I'm hoping some people are watching online. We have several people that I think are watching on the Zoom meeting, so. Sure.